Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 14 episode 10 and the third part of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion. I am so happy this stuff with Kyle and PK's text messages has been put to rest because now we can finally focus on the meat of Dorit and PK's divorce. The episode starts with like a montage of PK and Dorit's relationship starting from like 2016. I honestly kind of forgot how in love they were. I mean, at their best, they really had like a Kyle and Mauricio level of love. And it's so crazy to see the dissolution of their relationship in montage form like that. I mean, literally over the course of like almost 10 years, Dorit literally goes from yelling like, oh, my husband, all I can think about is my husband, to literally now she's saying like, I am willing to go to war with this man. Sutton invites Garcelle over and she FaceTimes Kyle and she invites both of them to Augusta, Georgia to meet her mom and just have a girls' weekend. I honestly completely forgot that Sutton does not have a great relationship with her mom, and I really appreciated that flashback that they gave us because I feel like I'm so hard on Sutton and I know people are coming around to really liking her, and I think I am too. It's just hard for me to forget all of this racist stuff that she said in the past. But learning more about her relationship with her mother has honestly helped me kind of see why she is the way that she is and why she is in a state of sort of arrested development. You know that I think that Sutton at times is like a child in a grown woman's body. This is what Sutton said about her relationship with her mom.
My mom still really likes Christian, but I don't know if she really likes me.
Sutton.
I don't feel like I've ever made her proud or happy as a daughter.
I have been resentful about my mother's praise on Christian, even after we were divorced. Oh, did you see Christian did this in the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times? And I'm like, yeah, but did you remember my store that's so beautiful in West Hollywood?
And honestly, like, I get it. I feel like mothers and daughters, that relationship is so hard. And like, hearing about what she said about her relationship with her mom, I'm like, I get it. I feel like Sutton definitely comes from this like old money Georgian family, and when we go there we really see like what it's like what her house is like and stuff, and I get it. I feel like I totally see that for her. Dorit is pissed that Sutton interrupted her story about Jagger asking about the divorce in the last episode when they were visiting Garcelle's beach house in Oxnard, which is like, yeah, me too. See, this is what I'm talking about with Sutton. She like just really pisses me off. And who is she talking to? I didn't write down who she's talking to. It's either like Erica or Bose. And I guess she texted PK a week ago about wanting to get in a more friendly place for the kids. And he didn't respond. And then she just texted the next day and she just says, really, PK? No response. And he goes, I'm at a friend's wedding. Have a nice day. This is such a like classic breakup thing, and it's normally something that women do, but like sometimes men do it too, where like you break up and immediately you go into like this very corporate place with each other, like you're texting in proper punctuation and you're saying like, hello, how are you, thank you for reaching out, like that kind of thing. And like PK doing that in this situation with Dorit though is very much not okay, because you're not in college. This isn't like a college breakup. You're talking about your children. So PK trying to do this like childish thing of being like overly cordial but also like not being responsive to the mother of his children, it's just like so stupid and immature. Like, she's asking you about your son who you never see and never talk to on the phone, and like your only response is like, I'm having fun at a friend's wedding, bye. I hope she takes him for all he's worth. I really do. I hope that she doesn't hit that 10-year, or I hope she waits until after that 10-year deadline so she can get half of his assets, because he is just so like, I feel like he has put her through so much. And like, again, I'm really not Dorit's biggest fan at all, but like, I just feel like being married to that man must have been a nightmare. I can't even imagine trying to divorce that man. Speaking of men though, Bose is on a date with her fine ass man. I think he is so good looking. She's talking about how hard it is to date in LA in your 40s, which is like, I'm sure that's true, but I honestly feel like dating in LA in general is so hard. I cannot imagine like dating after divorce or dating after the death of your partner, like what Bose is doing is like, I get it. Nobody is serious here. There are no serious people here. Bose asks him what his timeline is in regards to kids, and he says, at what point would you think that I'm wasting your time? Bose is 49 years old, almost 50. She's definitely running out of time to carry her own child, for sure. I don't know if this man has kids. I don't think she's ever told us whether or not he does, but if you ask a man, when do you want to have kids, and he basically says, like, what's the longest that you'll wait before you'll be pissed off at me? Probably he's not gonna want kids. I want Bose to get whatever she wants. If she wants another baby and she wants to carry that baby herself, I want her to be able to do that. I think she is such a go-getter and she's so confident. I feel like she's such a great role model for women. Like, she's not even making it a big deal, because I could sit here and be like, wow, it's so amazing that at her age she wants to have a biological child that she carries herself. Like, that's so brave. It's so cool of her to do that. But I don't even think she's thinking of it in that way. I think she's just like, yeah, I want to have a kid biologically. I want to carry it myself. And I think that that's something that I should be able to do. And it's not a big deal. And I'm not being revolutionary by doing that. I just want to do it and I'm going to do it. And I think that's really cool. Kyle and Mauricio are at a gun range. I low-key forgot that she was also burglarized. Like, not that long after Dorit. Or maybe hers was before Dorit, but it really wasn't that far apart. So she's trying to figure out, like, she wants to learn how to defend herself. Like I was saying last time, she lives alone in that like big house. And this conversation that she has with Mauricio at the gun range is like, it's like low-key a little, I don't know, there's something about it that's like a little sad, a little awkward, but also you can tell that they really are friends and they really want to try to have the best relationship possible. But I think it's just, I don't know, God, it's just so sad to think like they used to be so in love and they used to have such a warm, like best friend type of relationship. And now you see them in this conversation and Kyle is just like, so how's your new condo? And Mauricio is like, yeah, it's good. I only have eggs and canned soup in the fridge. It's like the way that they're talking is like, it's like they're acquaintances. It's just like sad. And I know that it happens all the time and I don't want to be like pitying them. I'm sure like people don't like to be pitied, but like it's sad to see that. I don't know. And I hope I never have to be in that situation. Kyle does say that most days she hides how hard it is. And then they show a montage of her relationship. And I mean, really, they used to be so cute. Mauricio used to be so hot. When I first started watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills from the beginning, like a few years ago, I remember in the beginning being like, wow, Kyle's man is so fine. Who knows? Maybe he's just like better at hiding it. But I feel like in these situations, like the men are always suffering less. I mean, look at PK and Dorit. Like clearly he is not suffering at all. So like, I mean, and also Mauricio has already been like pictured with other women. And I mean, I guess Kyle has too, but like, it just really feels like Kyle is struggling with this more than anyone else. So Kyle and Garcelle get to the airport at 3 a.m. Come to find out, Sutton is flying them commercial. Literally so funny. They get there at 3 a.m. They're like, why do we have to fly to Augusta, Georgia at 3 a.m. on this commercial flight? Sutton shows up fresh as a spring chicken. She's so happy to be there. They get driven to their little commercial plane. Sutton's assistant, Avi, picks them up in Augusta. And they're like showing some pictures of Sutton from like back when she was a kid growing up. I totally forgot that she used to be a ballet dancer. I feel like that is so Southern. That is like so, like this adorable little blonde girl being a ballet dancer in Georgia. Like I do kind of see that for her. They pull up to their mom's house. It looks like a mini White House. Like from the outside, it looks like those Southern homes that you see in like the old movies. Yeah, she's just like really Southern. I don't have much experience with going to the South. I have a few friends from the South, but not like the deep South like that. Like, it's just very old school. Garcelle talks about it a little bit. There's like a certain charm to it, like sitting on your front porch, having like a lemonade. Like, there's something like really sweet about it. And growing up in LA, like Garcelle says it herself, like, we don't talk to our neighbors like that. We don't like sit out on our porches like that, people watching. Like, all of the homes here are either gated off or people here just don't talk to their neighbors like that. So there is a part about like that kind of life in the South that's like really intriguing to me. I mean, it's honestly really similar to like Lebanese culture, like that kind of like neighborly, you know, everybody who lives around you and you're always sitting outside. Like, there actually are a lot of similarities there. So like, I get it. There is like a charm to that. So we meet Sutton's mother, who's basically everything that you would expect her to be. She's basically this like very stern, kind of closed off, no filtered Southern woman. And they're talking about Sutton's kids, and she goes, oh yeah, like one of Sutton's kids is really weird. And Garcelle goes like, oh yeah, I have a weird one too. And Sutton's mom goes, I know, I've seen him. And it's like, yeah, that tracks. I mean, Sutton basically told us all about her mom. She can't be impressed. Like, there's always a problem with something that she does, with something that Sutton does. So like, yeah, I get it. Of course, Sutton's mom is gonna talk trash about not only her own grandkids, but about other people's kids as well. I get it. So the rest of the women who did not get the Georgia invite are at lunch with Kathy. And Kathy says that she saw a geneticist who said that she is part Chinese dating back to 3000 BC. Okay. Chinese queen, love it. Really, everybody is dumbfounded at this, including me, one of the audience members. Garcelle is kind of seeing the similarities between Sutton and her mom, and like, yeah, me too. Like, they're both really tough, a little closed off, no filter. And Sutton says that she was really excited to have her mom at the store, and it was hurtful when she didn't show up. She just wants her mom to respect her. I mean, Jesus, it's like, this woman is like in her late 40s, early 50s, and she's still talking about trying to get her mom to respect her. Like, I feel like we all know people who have those kinds of relationships with their mom, and it's just so crazy to think that like, it can really be your whole life, like trying to demand respect from a parent. It's sad. It's like really messed up. But this is what I'm actually interested in. I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't care less about Georgia. I really don't care. Dorit is talking about the separation with all of the women at dinner. Her and PK initially said in couples therapy that they would work on their issues with resentment. And Kathy says, well, I mean, I think he's a really good father. Am I correct? And Dorit goes, wrong. And she says that he's not hands-on, basically, which I feel like we have seen. He travels a lot for work. She says he used to travel for weeks and weeks and just wouldn't call his kids. Dorit used to have to lie to them and say that he missed them so much and he's been trying to call, but he's just been like missing them. He can't get a hold of them. Men who travel a lot for work cannot be trusted. I'm not saying that like PK had like a woman in all different ports, but like a lot of the times men who travel for work, they're more than willing to do it because they don't want to be around their families. They like that they have to travel for work. It's not like a downside to them. They're not like, oh, I wish I could spend more time with my family. Like, it's so sad that I always have to be flying to England without them. They like that. That's a perk for them. And I can totally see that for PK. Like, I'm sure every time he had to get on a jet and go back to London, he was like, thank God. Then Dorit says that PK is 56 and Kathy goes, when I first met him, I thought he was 56. She met him 10 years ago. And it's like, yeah, same. That's how you age when you're a bad person. I also would have thought he was 56 10 years ago. I think I thought that there was like this massive age difference between them. And then Dorit says that she woke up to a 7-page email after their separation that was pretty much all about their financials. And PK said that he wants Dorit to pay 100% of the mortgage within 2 months of their separation. She says that she doesn't recognize him at all. I have always heard the saying, you know the man you married, you don't know the man that you divorce. And I think Dorit is learning that the hard way right now. Like, yeah, I feel like us watching from like a third person perspective, none of us have ever really liked PK, and we probably could have predicted this a mile away, but like when you're in it, you don't know. And like, I really do feel for her that she's being totally blindsided by this evil man. I also didn't know this, but Erica brings up that, so Dorit and PK have been married 9.5 years. Apparently, the California community property law kicks in at 10 years. So even if they had a prenup, which I'm assuming they did, she would get half of his assets in the event of a finalized divorce that is after 10 years of marriage. I'm from California and I did not know that. And I mean, Erica is giving her great advice. I really hope that Dorit takes on Erica as an ally during all of this, because Erica is like, Dorit is being too nice. She's giving PK the benefit of the doubt, which she really should not be doing. Erica is saying, listen, you have to be ruthless. This man is not your husband anymore. This man is your op. She can't give PK any grace because he is not giving her grace. That is exactly what I would say to her also. And then Dorit asks if she shouldn't be sure that she doesn't want to go back before she finalizes anything. And Erica says that he doesn't want her back, which is true. It's so crazy to me that Dorit, there's still a part of her that's thinking like, no, we might be able to salvage this marriage. There is nothing left to salvage. He doesn't want you. Okay, let's talk about the Salt Lake City reunion. This is part 3 of a reunion that has honestly felt so long. What do you guys think about the 3-part reunions? Because sometimes I feel like, honestly, they could be 2 parts or less. Like, I feel like the Salt Lake City reunion, and honestly most reunions, by the time we get to part 3, I feel like really tired. I mean, some parts of the reunions feel really good. Like, part 3, I would say, was like packed with some good stuff, but then I feel like part 2 last week was like kind of lacking. Like, I kind of felt bored in the middle of it. But anyway, Brittany is finally here. Thank God. She originally came in the same dress as Angie, and she agreed to change, which is like, yeah, you should change. You're the friend of. It's kind of sweet. She seems to have gotten over the high body count hair thing, and her and Angie are able to joke about it, which is kind of cute. I don't know. I really liked Brittany during this reunion. I feel like during the season, I've been like, oh, she's such a clown. Like, she's really annoying. She's so whiny. But like in this season, or in this reunion, I kind of thought she was charming and funny. Is that like bad that I think that? She says that her and Jared have broken up, but then an editor's note pops up in the lower third. I've never seen them do this. They put an editor's note in the lower third that says that since the reunion taped, they've gone Insta official again. And he was supposed to come to the reunion, but canceled his ticket because Brittany went through his phone and found him deleting texts from single girls. This man, honestly, listen, I'm not from Utah. I'm not really familiar with the Osmond family. This man, Jared Osmond, sounds like a menace. And I guess Jared has been texting like Bronwyn and Mary as well, just separately. It seems like knowing the Osmond family in Utah is just like a thing. Like, a lot of women in like Utah social society just kind of know the family. And Bronwyn reads a text that Jared sent her. And some of it says, honestly, Bronwyn, what the fucking hell is your fucking problem? Are you fucking kidding me? Coming out on national television talking about my anatomy, you fucking bitch, blah, blah. It's like more of that. And then at the end of it, he says, I could certainly pick apart all of your anatomy, but I'll keep it between you and me. Ew. Ugh, I cannot imagine. That is so disgusting. Sending a text. I'm so sorry. If you're like a 40, 50-year-old man sending a text like that to another woman who you don't even know, like, that is so pathetic. That is so disgusting. It is so embarrassing for Brittany that she wants to be associated with this man. And then Brittany just kind of doesn't. I don't think they press Brittany hard enough about this, in my opinion. I feel like they should have really been going in on her. Like, this is the kind of man you want to associate with. And Brittany just sort of like, she's just kind of like, I know, it's terrible. I know, no, it's really awful. I know, it's really awful. It's just not like, I just feel like she's either not taking it seriously or she's just used to it. I feel like this is probably just how he talks to everyone he doesn't like. And she's just like, yeah, that's Jared. That's just what he's like. It's really awful. Yeah, it's really awful. And then secretly she's thinking about like, when's the next time she's going to get to hook up with him. It's just like embarrassing. And then Jared texted Mary about how she's like a child of God, and it's like nothing but nice things. It's nothing but like you're a woman of God. God loves you. I love you because you love God. And then Jared also went on Twitter and claimed that he's the reason Brittany got on the show. It's just giving like, it's giving like Kanye West in like a different way. Like it's just like unhinged on Twitter. You know who it's giving? It's giving like Elon Musk, like just a guy on a power trip who thinks he's on top of the world and everyone should be like kissing his feet, and anything good that happens to you, it's because of me. It's just like, it's like really disgusting. Britney did reconnect with both of her kids after they wrapped filming, and she says she regrets putting men over her daughters. I'm like, I don't know, do you? Like when they showed her casting tape, when Britney was just kind of being like, oh yeah, like I have 2 daughters, I'm not really talking to either of them right now. It was just very like, she just thought that it was just sort of silly, and I think she thought it would be something interesting to tell casting, but like she didn't seem that sad about it to me. Like it didn't seem like, when you think about like Tamra talking about how her daughter doesn't talk to her, and now we're talking about this, is like it was a different energy for sure. I think Britney kind of liked that, like it would be an interesting point to bring up to casting, if you know what I mean. Then Britney says that Bronwyn told her daughters that Britney said they broke up her second marriage and are jealous of her, and that's why they don't talk to her. So Britney is essentially accusing Bronwyn of being the reason why her daughters didn't talk to her for 6 months. I don't believe her. I don't think that Bronwyn particularly cares about Britney like that. I think Bronwyn has better things to do than to start like a rumor like that to Britney's own daughters. I'm sure Bronwyn was maybe like gossiping to her friends or something, but what reasoning would Bronwyn have to like go up to these like teenage early 20s girls and be like, oh, just so you know, like your mom thinks that you broke up her marriage? I just don't really see that for her. Then they get into a little bit of like religious talk. Angie says that she wasn't being shady by bringing wine to Britney's prayer group. I do think that Angie was being a little shady, because it's like, listen, like I know you see Britney drink, but at the end of the day, you know that Mormons don't drink. So if you're going to a Mormon prayer group, you know better than to bring red wine. It definitely felt like Angie was kind of trying to like out Britney to like her Mormon friends in that prayer group by bringing wine and being like, oh, well, I'm so sorry, I didn't know, like I see you drink. Like it definitely felt like she was trying to embarrass her a little bit. And then she just straight up says that Britney isn't a true Mormon because of how she lives, and she's like, I embrace my religion 7 days a week, not just on Sundays. And then Mary just like leans over and she goes, honestly, she's sinning, just let her sin. Then they're finally talking about that scary ass dog bite that Bronwyn got at the dog park. And Bronwyn's talking about how like she did everything wrong. Like when you get bitten by a dog, you're supposed to try to stay calm and not pull away, and someone else is supposed to come and like get the dog off of you. And Andy is like, oh, is like, what can you do to like get the dog to stop biting you? And Bronwyn goes, if you touch a dog's butthole, it's supposed to make it stop biting you. I'm not doing that for anyone. It would have to be a life or death situation before you could ever get me to go near a dog's butthole. If I saw somebody getting bitten by a dog and they yelled at me from across the way, they were like, please, please come over here and stick your finger in the dog's butthole so it can stop biting me, please. I'd be like, honestly, like, it'll stop in a second. Like, don't worry about it. And I guess she didn't sue the dog owner, and instead she paid for it to be checked out by a vet, and they found like an underlying health issue that was leading to its aggression. And the dog got rehomed to a farm where it doesn't need to be around other dogs. That is just like cartoonish level of niceness. I feel like that's what people are talking about. Like, Bronwyn can be such a politician sometimes. I feel like that's such a like perfect PR like thing to do. I mean, it's a good thing to do. Of course, it's like, she's very nice, she's super rich, she's using her money to do good things. Like, of course that's really good, but like sometimes I feel like her level of like perfect PR angel is like so much. It's like almost cartoonish. I'm like, of course you did that. Of course you did that. Whitney said that she heard that Lisa returns clothes from her friend who works at Nordstrom. And Lisa's like, I don't even shop at Nordstrom. And I do low-key believe her. I don't think Lisa shops at Nordstrom. I don't even know if Lisa shops anywhere. She probably has a personal shopper. Or like I said when we were talking about Bronwyn's necklace, all of these women rent their clothes. Anytime you go on, you see reality TV and you see these stars like wearing this crazy like runway fashion, these big fat diamond necklaces, All of it is rented. It's really rare that they would go out and spend like millions and millions of dollars on clothes. Meredith talked to Jen Shah in prison. Jen called her, and then Whitney immediately jumps in and she's like, well, that's no different than me reaching out to Monica. Like, how is that different?
How is that any worse than me talking to Monica?
I didn't seek Jen out to dig dirt on my friends. Jen called me from prison after she's taken accountability, served time, and is paying restitution. Very big
I'm sorry, but that woman traumatized us way more than Monica did.
If Jen Shah called me, I would not accept her call.
I do think Meredith has a point when she's like, well, you reached out to Monica specifically to get dirt on us. I was just talking to Jen. And then Mary is like, you know, that woman hurt us so much. She traumatized us, which is like, yeah, she did. She also traumatized me. I mean, I don't know why Meredith wants to associate with that woman. It's like, I get it, you were once friends, but this woman ran like a national scheme scamming elderly people out of their money. I'm not sure why you're taking her calls from prison. She's not a good person. Then Whitney demands an explanation as to why Lisa can't burn Whitney's accusation that Lisa has threesomes with John and other women. Lisa starts crying immediately, and she says that the group has fucked her over so many times and it's hard to be vulnerable. She said that she disappeared in her family because she has 5 siblings and she could have been trafficked and nobody would have noticed. Her immediately going to a place of trafficking is a little odd. I would say I didn't really connect with that, but I'm also an only child, so I guess that's not really like a thought that popped up. Like, if I got trafficked, would my family noticed? They would, thankfully.
So you can
I could have said a lot of worse things about how I think you're fake, phony, selfish, unaware. But I chose that because that's the thing that has hurt you the most, and I am sorry.
You know what the thing is, though, is like I put up with a lot from Whitney
did it again until
since season 1, and there's horrible things are said about you every day to me.
You called
every
me
day,
a liar,
and I don't repeat them
Good
because you
for
lied about me.
Here's the thing, Whitney knew what she was doing. It was different. I mean, first of all, that game that Heather suggested is a horrible idea. You could never, ever get me to do that, to read out loud like some of the most damaging texts I've ever sent about my friends to other people. That's a terrible idea. But the assignment was read out loud the worst thing that you have ever said about one of the women in this group. It wasn't read out loud a rumor that you've spread about one of the women in this group. Those are two different things. Like, the other women, like Heather's text about Whitney was just like, she's a bitch, she sucks, you know, she's so whiny, she'll never be anything. But Whitney was spreading a rumor about Lisa's marriage. And I think she took the game as an opportunity to bring that up and try to perpetuate that rumor even further. It wasn't following the assignment. So I am sort of on Lisa's side here. Like, Whitney is trying to take her down, and I think she's been trying to take her down all season. But at the same time, I do agree with Whitney when she says, like, you know, I have to take accountability and I have to apologize, but Lisa never has to say sorry for anything. And that is true. Lisa never says sorry. I don't know if we've ever heard her say sorry in her entire time on Salt Lake City. And then Lisa says, despite everything, she still loves Whitney. And, you know, the reunion ends on a really heartfelt note. Andy has all of the women compliment all of, you know, one of the other women. It's cute. It is kind of funny because all of the women basically say to each other, like, you know, you're a really good mom, which is such like that's such an easy compliment. It's like if I didn't have anything to say about a person's character or like something about them personally, I would just default to like, you're a really good mom. You're really good to the kids. That's it for Salt Lake City. I'm a little sad that it's over. I will say this reunion process has been like a little exhausting. People are wondering if Lisa is gonna leave Salt Lake City after this season. I don't think so. I don't think Lisa will ever leave Salt Lake. She would literally have to get fired to leave that show. Although I will say I wouldn't be surprised if Meredith left. Maybe not after this season, but it is sort of starting to feel like she's getting done with this series. And like, I mean, she only lives in Salt Lake City to film Real Housewives. She basically admitted it. She's like, I only live there 6 months out of the year. And I'm pretty sure they film Real Housewives for 6 months. So it's basically like she goes there to film and then she goes back to New York, which is like her real home. I can see her being like, I want to live in New York York full time. I'm so sick of coming back to Salt Lake City. New York is also so much closer to Ohio, where Seth works and where Seth is constantly flying out to. But that is it for this week's recap. I feel like we had a lot to go through today. I guess next week, the only Housewives show we'll be talking about is Beverly Hills, because Potomac also ended. And then I don't think any of the others that I watch are on right now. So I think we'll talk about Beverly Hills. I'll be talking about Traitors season 3, episodes 6 and 7. So keep an eye out for that video tomorrow. And then this weekend, we finally get to start talking about Love is Blind US. I can't wait. It's coming back for season 8. So lots to talk about this week. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.